By Simpson. Kathy Smith and I had the distinct pleasure of serving with Vi Simpson in the state senate, and we can attest that Vi did not get this message. Vi was elected in 1981 through 1984 as the auditor in Monroe County. In 1984, she was elected to the Senate. Vi has served as the Senate Minority Leader since 2008, and she served on many, many committees. But Health and Provider Services, Insurance and Financial Services, Joint Rules, and Legislative Procedures are her current one. Vi is a proud mother of 2 adult children, and I've lost track of how many. 4 grandchildren. Well, I have you beat. I have 5. Ha, ha, ha. And Vi and I used to always go back and forth about our grandchildren. Vi received her law degree in 1994 from the IU School of Law. Let me assure you that having the opportunity to serve with Vi in the state senate was a distinct pleasure of mine. And if there was something going on, Vi was right in the middle of it, and she knew all about it. And she is a dynamic, wonderful woman, and another woman that I'm proud to call a friend, Vi Simpson.
Wow, I'm so glad to be here. I'm from the state senate. I never saw this many Democrats in my life. Well, thank you so much for the invitation to be here. I'm so proud. I can't wait to hear from the governor. Thank you for coming and sharing your thoughts about here in Indiana. And of course, I'm so proud to have contributed to bringing all of you the wonderful Shelley Yoder. Well, this is an important election. It truly is. You know, politicians say that every 2 years or every 4 years whenever they're running for office. We always stand up and we say, this is the most important election we've ever had. I really mean it this time. Yes. It is. It could be the election of a generation. And why is that? Well, you've heard people talk about the last 4 years of the Indiana General Assembly. And let's give it up again for those 2 great candidates that we're going to send to Indianapolis. Thank you for running. Thank you for serving. All of the things that have gone on in the last 4 years have set us back in so many ways. But I don't want to just dwell on the bad. Because I want us all to know when we leave here tonight, we have the power. We have the power right here in our hands to change the direction of the state of Indiana, to turn that ship of state around from that right-wing extreme road we're going down and bring it back to the middle where we belong. This is a winnable race. And I shared with a few of you that we have some new poll numbers that I'm sure will escape in the next couple of days. But let me just say we are in the low single digits, still behind, but the low single digits, which means the next 2 weeks are crucial. And that means that we need to dig a little deeper, everybody. You and me. I have to work 26 hours a day now instead of just 22. I'm not going to have time to cook dinner for Bill.
I'll come and help.
Okay. Steve's so lucky to have you. I'm sure you do over those things on that list. So, we need to dig a little deeper. We need to do a little more than we've ever done before. We have to make a few more phone calls. We have to knock on a few more doors, and when you get tired, I want you to remember what's been going on in the state of Indiana in the last 4 years. And I want you to remember how important it is that we do more, that we go the extra mile, because these races can be won. And if you and I do everything we need to do to bring this election to a close on November 6th, then we can say goodbye to Tony Bennett and bring on Wanda Ritz, a real public school teacher, to run the superintendent's office. And we can say goodbye to one of your hometown guys, Attorney General Greg Zeller, who thinks it isn't his business to intercede on behalf of protecting the children of this state from abuse and neglect. Let's elect Kay Fleming, the Attorney General. She will step up and protect kids. And if we do everything that we need to do, then we will send a congressman to Washington, D.C., who represents all of us, every one of us, men and women and children, who understands the importance of education and who will stand up for us against the Tea Party-controlled Congress, and that is Shelley Yoder. And if we do everything that we need to do in the next 14 days, then we can have a governor from the state of Indiana who stands up for the middle class, who believes in working people and believes in supporting the minimum wage, and that governor is John Gray. And if we do everything we need to do, we can elect a governor that believes in public education and believes in our public school teachers and wants to lift them up, not tear them down. And that governor is John Gray. And if we do everything we need to do, we can elect a governor that believes on day one, after the inauguration, we will march into the Department of Child Services and turn that place upside down so that they are protecting the kids of this state from abuse and neglect. And I want you to compare that for just a second against the other team. Congressman Mike Pence, you know, he wasn't your congressman, so you don't know him as well as some of the folks around the state. Congressman Mike Pence, who voted against the minimum wage because it was too excessive. Congressman Mike Pence, who voted against Violence Against Women Act, which would have provided health care services for women who were victims of domestic violence. Congressman Mike Pence, who voted against Pell Grants so that lower income students could go to college. Congressman Mike Pence, who stood in front of the Capitol building of this U.S. government and said, close it down, about closing the government over a budget fight having to do with defunding Planned Parenthood. Not for abortion services. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about cancer screenings. We're talking about STD screenings. We're talking about basic health care for the women of this country and the women of the state of Indiana. And he said, close down the government rather than fund low-income women and their access to health care and contraceptives. This guy is extreme in every sense of the word. And compare John Gray, who believes in women believes in equal pay for equal work, and believes in their access to health care, with a Congressman Mike Pence, who voted against all of those things, including voting against equal pay for equal work, the Lilly Ledbetter Act. Shame on you, Mike Pence, shame on you. And if we do everything we need to do between now and November 6th, we can elect John Gregg, the next governor of the state of Indiana, and you will get me as the lieutenant governor of the state